Hey peeps. We're live. How exciting. Now I forgot what I was going to say. No, tonight's show is called Fear is the Witch Killer because it is. And we have some amazing people. That's what I was so excited about to have all these assholes on here except Sunshine. You know, because she's not an asshole. Um, oh my gosh, I completely forgot what I was going to say.
So
See?
what are we doing here? What is the purpose of this
We
show?
are having a show to express to these fine people. um, I don't know.
I should have done it. Okay, you want me to do it?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody pretend take the last couple minutes back of your life. Okay, so welcome
It was like 1 minute.
okay. Welcome to the Deviant Witchery show. We have some special guests today, and Nimbus just dropped off again. He may continue to do that. So we have Nimbus River, and we have Scarlet, and we also have Sunshine. Everybody is a member of our Facebook group, Deviant Witchery. So tonight's topic is Fear is the Witch Killer, and the purpose, what we want to do with this channel, for the future of this channel, is to do these monthly chats, or try to do them monthly, do these group chats, as when our schedules can align with each other. And we also need people to subscribe. We'd like everybody to subscribe anyway, because we are going to be also doing individual videos, which you need to be subscribed if you want to know when we're going to be doing our individual videos.
Because they're awesome. And subscribe to all these beautiful people. They have a channel.
Mm-hmm.
We'll put that into, the link, the description, and you should subscribe there as well. And all of you probably already are subscribed to Sunshine because she's like freaking popular. I just saw your... You have like, what was it, 3,000?
and I feel really bad too because it's been a while since I've done a video, but I have just had a whole lot going on. So
life happens, right?
Yeah.
It does. It does. And that's one thing that a lot of us need to understand, that it is not absolutely mandatory for you to be this personality for everybody else to come to and have to answer everybody. Everybody needs to understand that we have lives, So
Yeah.
I know that I get a lot of messages. I've actually gotten some complaining messages here lately, complaining that if I was going to start a YouTube channel, that I should have stuck with it because there's people out there that need me. And
I need you.
Yeah.
Well, we could address the neediness tonight if you would like.
Exactly.
Because that is a problem.
It is. It is. So that's one of the reasons that I wanted to join tonight, because I think that's something that all of us have a problem with. People not understanding that we're not out there for everybody else. What we do, what we offer, we do out of wanting to offer it. It's not because we are obligated to give this information, or we're not obligated. I'm not obligated to anybody out there in the world. The only person I'm obligated to is myself and my husband. So I'm hoping that some of my viewers are going to come over and they're going to see this too, and they're going to subscribe, and they're going to see, that people have lives outside of YouTube and Facebook communities, and sometimes you just got to do what you got to do on your own to find your path. So
absolutely, do the freaking work.
Okay.
I'm just so excited to have everyone here. I am very, very selfish. And I'll admit it, I get what I want. I wanted Sunshine, I wanted Scarlet, I want Nimbus, I want Black. And who do we have here? We got everyone that I want. So I think But I have really, really good intentions. Blythe and I have really, we're excited to work with everyone, and it's going to be fun, because we want to grow as a brand, as a channel, but we also want to help everyone else individually and personally here, Scarlet, Nimbus, Sunshine, to grow as well. I think we all have interesting personalities, and I think a lot of people will see that today and in the future. We won't always agree, but we will always, be as respectful as we can be and find understanding. Anyways, that's blah, blah, blah. Oh, I was going to address the group. Yeah, because a lot of people got pissed off because I decided to delete people from the group because they didn't participate. And that post got a lot of response from people I didn't even know were in the group. Like, don't delete me, I love the group. You don't post. You don't comment. You don't interact. If you're going to post on something like that, then post on other things. And you don't have to be someone who's been practicing for 100 years or whatever. You can be new and still have something worthwhile to say, something that someone might need to hear. It's all about growing together and adding to discussion. So people who are not going to contribute to the group, you will be removed. And it's just because I feel like we all need to come together and share and grow, and instead of just take.
Yeah,
So,
and it gets draining on the people that are giving. We have a lot of people in the group that may be newer practitioners or newer to the group, and even asking a question and starting a discussion. I mean, we've had some great questions and discussions from newer people, however you want to classify the word newer. So, yeah, if you have any questions, ask your questions.
and also people need to realize, like, everyone has a different personality, so you might be offended by how someone responds to you, but they might not be responding the way that you're perceiving it. Or if it's me, I'm probably being rude and I'm probably being an asshole, and that's exactly how it is. But that's okay. So let's talk about the topic, obviously. So where should we start? Should we start with people, practitioners fearing themselves and their craft?
Yeah, let's start with that.
I think, Nimbus, you said something, was it last week we talked, or was it the week before? You said something interesting. If you recall what you said, if you want to talk about that. If you don't recall, then I don't know.
I said a lot of things, so I'm thinking you're thinking of when I say that people don't want to embrace what they truly are, and that's really kind of why they stick to this this like love and light, shit, rainbows and junk, because they're afraid of embracing what they are, and they deny it, and I feel like that it's fear, and it's debilitating to the witch community as a whole when you're not when you've got members that have talent and have potential that don't choose to do anything about it, or rather they make excuses for the reasons they can't embrace it fully. My husband's a dickhead, or I'm afraid that I have too much power. I don't know. I've heard so many sob stories, and it just gets so frustrating. And the whole I wasn't born a witch. I wasn't that whole I wasn't born a witch, and I'm new to it, and I've only been practicing for 5 years. And if you're weak at 5 years of practice, you're not doing something right. I'm sorry. Like, going back to the weak witches video that you and Blythe did, when y'all were talking about how the weakness is brought on by excuses and just not wanting to work at it, and not wanting to put hard work into your craft, because it is a craft. It's not just, yeah, you can be born with talent, but if you don't use it, then it's pointless. It's going to go away.
There's a solution to fear, if you ask me. When a person comes to me and says, I'm afraid to do that, the reason that they're afraid to do that is because they don't have the knowledge, they haven't tried practicing, They haven't studied what it is that they're fearing, so they're afraid of it. It's no different than a 5-year-old learning to ride a bicycle. You're not going to learn until you learn. It's that simple. You're not going to be able to lose your fear until you've conquered it.
Right.
And in conquering it, when it comes to what we do, it's knowledge. You need to study. You need to practice. You need to get all of your P's and Q's together, and you have to have the mindset to do what you want to do and know that it's going to work. And when you see that happening, you steadily lose that fear. So if you are practicing 5 years in and you're still saying, I'm afraid, I agree with Nimbus. You're not practicing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If you're 5 years in and you're scared, there's something wrong. You're not doing something right, you know? And if you're scared, I think a huge issue is a lot of people say that it's the outside community judging us as a magical community. And I don't think that is, I mean, that is an issue, but whatever. But the huge issue here is practitioners fearing what they are capable of, and so they project this weakness, and they allow the outside community to, you know, dictate to them how, you know, they should be. And we are powerful people, and we shouldn't, you know, fear that. We shouldn't think that that's something that we're not capable of. But
you know what? I refuse to say that I'm afraid, because personally, when I look at, I'm going to call them a Bible thumper, okay? I'm not going to say a Christian. I'm going to say a Bible thumper. And the reason I call them a Bible thumper is that that's the person who will take it upon themselves to get in my face and tell me I'm going to hell and what I'm doing is wrong. So I'm going to classify a Bible thumper here. Bible thumpers are what they are because they are afraid of us. Why are they afraid of us? Because they do not know what we do, what we are, where we get what we are from. It's because of lack of knowledge that they are afraid. I refuse to be in the same category as a Bible thumper.
Yep.
This is one of the, I think I've said it before, maybe in one of the shows, but when I was 14, 15, started getting interested in the occult, for one of the first things that I started learning about was Satanism, because I was afraid of it. And then I started looking into voodoo and the, I'm not going to say darker, the more intense paths, because I wanted to try to cut out that fear. And I've always said that we fear what we do not know, so I want to know everything. So that is why I will research different topics. I wanted to talk about the people that do not, or claim that they do not have any time. They are too busy. They have a household to run. They have kids. They have a job. We all have responsibilities. We all have shit to do. And I've said it before, if you have enough time to take a shower, you have enough time to meditate.
Blythe, put your daily itinerary up, and then let me hear them say how busy they are.
I know. I listen to podcasts in the car when I'm driving to work. So it takes me about 25 minutes to work. So I can listen to, you know, a decent amount of podcasts, or you can listen to an audio book. You can, if you have a digital reader, you can read books at work without worrying about anybody giving you a problem. Get your kids involved with things. I've started taking mine to the local rituals because I want to go, and I don't have anybody to watch them, so they've been welcomed because there's other kids there too as well. Get people involved. If the person that you're with is not supporting you, get rid of them. And I've been saying that for a long time. They don't have to go with you, but you should have a supportive relationship no matter what it is.
Sure.
And don't ever say that you don't have enough time, because there's always, if you have 5 minutes in a day where you're not doing anything, you have enough time to do something.
If you have enough time to be sitting here watching us right now, you have enough time.
Very true.
I feel like I live witchcraft, if that makes sense.
Well,
I've never had to make time for it because it was there. I'm just there. I can't explain it, but it's
well, yeah.
That's
I
how it
breathe it.
should
I
be.
live it. I am. I am witch. It's not that I do witchcraft. It's I
Hear
don't
me
do it. It's not
roar.
like a hobby. It's what I'm saying. Like I don't know. So I don't understand that excuse. They're like, no, I can't do it because I don't have any time. And I'm like, what? Yeah.
Yeah, and
Jesus Christ.
Scarlett, I think I can agree as well. I mean, when you are, and this isn't something that you choose to be. This is something that you are, and so it is something that you live. It's not something that you make time for because, like you said, it's just what you do. It's who you are. You don't make time for who you are because you live it. You wake up. It's you do your work. Every single day you have something to do. You have, your clients to take care of, or you have people that come for you for advice. This is not something you. Okay, this is my own personal view, but this is not something that you can choose to be. This is something that you are. That's something that chooses you. That's just my personal, opinion.
To an extent, I agree with you, Michael. To an extent, I do. There's people out there that don't know until later in their life what their path is, and deep down inside, this was in them. If you come from my side of the track, you're brought up in it, so you really
Right.
don't have. I mean, you have a choice, when you get older to decide, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. That doesn't remove what you have in you. So, yeah,
Right.
to an extent, I agree.
Right. Definitely. I mean, there's like, if you grow up in it, if you like, people can deny who they are, but it doesn't change that at that core level. That's still who you are, but you can deny it. Just like seeing spirits. I denied that for a long time. It freaked me out. I had traumatizing experiences with that, so I denied that. I disagreed. I'm like, just let it go, and it never really went away. That's still who I am. And I think there's a lot of magical people, but not everyone is a witch.
Hmm.
There's
Yeah.
different aspects, but not everyone can be a witch.
I don't think people understand the difference and the distinction between being pagan or being magically minded and doing actual witchcraft. Because there is that kind of fine line, and just because you want to do it, a lot of people, they feel it's in them, and it is in them, and the magic is in them, but they don't have it. I don't know how else to explain it. And that's part of their growing, that's part of their path. It's either preparing them maybe for a little bit later in life or the next life or whatever it is that they're dealing with on their own personal journey. But I don't think people should feel guilty if they don't have it in them, and nobody should make them feel bad, but people also shouldn't pretend that they're something that they're not.
Right.
And you can always practice magic without trying to be something that you're not. I'm a I'm a believer that anyone to a certain extent could probably cast a spell. Now, granted, I don't know how great it would do, but I mean they could attain the knowledge and understand the workings of it. Now, do I think that casting a spell is that easy? Do you just learn it and then you do it? No. It's way more than that, and a witch knows that it's way more than that. However, there are magical practitioners that aren't witches that do magic. So, and there is such a fine line there between what's witchcraft and what's the other branches of just regular magic, and then and where are you, what are you right for? I mean, I know a lot of ministers in my line of work, right? So the ones that are so convicted in how they feel that they have been called to do it. Now, I'm not going to argue deity with you. I'm not going to argue anything, and that's for a different show. But, they feel truly and convicted so hard that they are called to that path. How could a witch not know it their entire life? Like I knew it. But I can remember being a child and doing things that I couldn't exactly understand, but I knew there was something more there. And as I attained the knowledge to understand what that more was, then that's when I started being the living witch, not just the person that was just innately witch, the more knowledgeable the craft witch, the learning of the craft. You know.
Nimbus, isn't that like a practicing witch is a pagan, but not all pagans are witches?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yes.
Actually,
You
yeah,
can be-
I feel like you can be a witch without having a spiritual a religion. A lot of people do it without working with deities, so that's kind of another one of those fine lines. But yeah, not all pagans are witches, and not everybody is supposed to be.
Careful, Blythe, you're going to start bringing out the Christo-pagans.
Well, that's actually,
Did I go there?
that's actually something that I have become a little bit more understanding of throughout I want to say probably the past year. I understand it a little bit more.
Because of hoodooism, huh?
Right.
Exactly. Okay.
So I understand it a little bit more. It's not something that aligns with me or what I do, but I get it.
So going back to fear, because we're gonna tangent off into something else. Like, Scarlett, how many people that come to you, that you can automatically sense that may come into you as a client or someone that is trying to get advice from you? How many of them are truly believers in what you do, or are they just, have a reverent fear of what you do and think that you may help them, or are you meeting knowledgeable witches that just need a little help? Like, where does that come from? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think I know the answer to this, but I wanted to ask.
Let's say I got 10 messages today, and out of those 10 people, I would say that probably 2 of them are truly interested in what I do, truly interested in the path. I think that the other 8 just want somebody to fix their problems for them.
Right.
They don't want to do it themselves. They don't even want to try to do it themselves. And I guess it goes along with fear, like how some witches are too fearful to really tap into what they can do. I think it also has to do with, I think people just want the title of witch without doing the work.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because, I mean, I've had a lot of people come to me, either on my personal account or my business, and just the shit that they say to me, is like, you got to be kidding me. Just like when we talked last week, when I told you about that lady who said that she's been a witch for 45 years. She wanted me to tell her how to do a full moon ritual. Well, after 45 years, you should know how the hell to do it.
Yeah.
So I think it's just, along with fear, also people just want that label as a witch, but they don't want to do the work for it.
Yeah. And that's the frustrating thing, is like they want that label, and they use that label, and people who are the real deal, it just kind of bastardizes that for us.
I think people that are the real deal actually don't use labels as much as people that are just trying to start. Like, I saw something on somebody posted on my on their own timeline today, basically, what is your label? What do you call yourself? And I didn't even answer it because I'm like, I can't even say. I don't know if there's just, it is what it is. I mean, I couldn't think of a name. I think a lot of people that especially use one word to describe themselves, they're really doing themselves a really big disservice. And a lot of people that use those.
No. Blythe, you're supposed to respond with, what am I? I'm a bitch to somebody who asks me stupid questions.
Yes. I'm going to start saying that. I'm going to use that tomorrow.
That works.
See, that's like walking up to a total stranger and saying, what are you? I'm a frog. Hey, yeah, I'm a frog.
Well, no, this was something they posted on their own wall, just asking what people would classify themselves, and I don't know. There's either too many names for me to label myself, or I haven't found, or there is no right one, because it is what it is.
Then are they asking in the same terms, for lack of another comparison, in the Christian world? Like, are you a Baptist? Are you a
maybe
Pentecostal.
Is that what you're meaning? Pentecostal? Oh my God. No! I mean, if that's what they're asking, then I can see. But there's just so many breakdowns in the world of paganism. I mean, I'm a pagan. I don't believe in the Christian God. It's that simple. You can call. I guess if you wanted to label me with one of those classic psychology labels, I would be considered an atheist.
Mm-hmm.
So. I'm a witch by trade.
I like that. I'm a witch by trade.
Yeah, I'm a witch by trade. My belief system is probably totally different than yours because you're a Christian. But other than that, I'm a person. That's what I am.
I don't know. I think you might be an alien.
It's possible. I've been told that.
That's why I don't like the labels, and I don't like talking about religion when I first meet people or anything like that. It's just, but it's come to a point now where I have to stop cringing when people want to add me onto Facebook because I want to talk about whatever I want to talk about. I like knowing people first before they can make that judgment on my spirituality, but that's just me. I stopped wearing pentacles. I don't wear them. Because it is part of who I am, but that's not all of what I am. So it's just it's a symbol that I use personally. I don't wear it to be like, hey, look at me. It's just not how I operate.
You see, I have my pentacle jewelry. I have a couple of T-shirts that may say something about me being a witch. I think they were more gifted to me than anything else. But when it comes to my lineage, I'm more proud of just coming from my Appalachian background, which really doesn't say anything, I guess, about my religion. So, I don't know. I have stopped hearing so long ago because sooner or later, you just have to take the mindset that you cannot please everyone all the time. And not everyone is out there to support you and do for you. You have to do for yourself, so screw them.
Yeah.
You have to do what's right for you. And if they don't like you, remove them.
And that is that is so simple and so powerful. And once, practitioners, once they start doing that, they remove the fear,
Right.
and then they start becoming more powerful, more stronger, confident in who they are. And their work shows for it. If they are truly practitioners, their work will show it. And if you, like you said, if people followed that, they would get rid of all those, those negative people, those negative influences, the people who, try to control them, the people who don't believe in them. They get rid of those, they learn how to strengthen their own confidence, and that sets apart actual practitioners, strong witches, versus someone who's just claims to be. I have so many people on, yes, I'm going to say it. I have so many people on my page, on my, friends, my profile, and a lot of people claim to be really, really potent, really strong, and then you ask them a question, and they don't even know how to answer a simple thing. I get a lot of people coming to me. I don't mind when people come to me, but you can tell when someone has done their research and when someone has not. And if you don't know how to do simple things, you really should not. Just stop. Because just stop. Your heart's not there. If your heart's not there, you're not going to be a practitioner. That's not who you are.
You have to do them. Stop reading about it. Stop talking about it. Do it.
And do it.
That's it. You have to do it. I think if people drop their labels, you did have that Nike shirt on the other day. If people just drop the labels that they call themselves for a month, 6 months, a year, forever, whatever it is, and just do whatever it is that you're supposed to do, I think or whatever it is that you're called to do, I think a lot of fear would be out the window because you're no longer labeling yourself. You're not labeling yourself as a pagan, as a Satanist, as I can't even think of a demonologist or whatever. You're just doing what it is that you're supposed to be doing. When people use labels and they start talking about what they're doing or ask certain questions, things get thrown at them like free will and karma and everything else that I think most of us don't really follow. And there is a lot of fear not only between us and other religions, but there's a lot of fear within the community itself because people are picking each other apart and
Right.
they are pushing their dogma on each other. And instead of they're getting offended, and instead of having an intelligent conversation, I mean, people
I'm a
think that
walking
Michael and I get
offense.
along all the time, and it's not true. But we are adults, and we've known each other for long enough where we know when to step back and be like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. I hear you. I don't agree with it, and then we just kind of move on. I mean,
And I think that's what that's what our goal is here, is like to take these people, take true practitioners who do fear, and to help them to grow, to discuss freely, because we discuss a lot of topics that a lot of people are uncomfortable with. We discuss things that some people think that we shouldn't be discussing. Some people think that the information that we discuss is a little too much to handle for certain people. Um, so I think that by us at least discussing it and discussing certain parts of these practices, it makes people feel a little more comfortable, and it will take them out of that fear zone and help them to put things into practice.
yeah, you have to be uncomfortable. If you're uncomfortable, it means you're actually dealing with whatever you need to deal with. I think people maybe misunderstood. They think that our videos are for newer practitioners. The only video that we've done so far on this channel that is for new practitioners is the newbie video that we did specifically for newer practitioners. Everything else is for people that actually practice, and we're not saying that newer practitioners can't get information or learn stuff from us, but there comes a time where you have to kind of just check whatever you know, like on the other side of the door, and just listen and try to see if anything is relevant to you. You may have your mind changed. You may start practicing a different way, or you may tell us to fuck off. I mean, whatever it is whatever it is, and we're not going to be offended by it. So it is what it is.
Personally, for me, talking about newbies, like when you go back to the group, the new ones I actually prefer. So if you are a newbie, never feel like you're afraid to step out and ask a question. It's normally the idiots that think they know what they're talking about,
Yeah.
yet they don't, and that bug me more. And they've been brainwashed by the I'm not fighting a war against non-witches. I never do. If you don't like me, I don't give a fuck. Fuck off. I don't care. You don't think
Wow.
If you don't think that what I'm trying to do and who I am is not great for you, then don't care. Don't give a shit. I mean, that's just how I feel.
Yay.
But the ones that I have the biggest problem with are the ones that call themselves witches, because when Blot says they push their dogma, it's so harsh that no one wants to go out of that line of things and branch out and do anything differently than making excuses and lighting candles and wishing positive thoughts, because that's what witchcraft has turned into for
Oh my
the
God.
mainstream witches. It's not what it truly is. And the ones that know that, my problem is that they're too afraid to step out and be what they need to be because of the ones that are telling them that it's wrong.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with the Law of Three. I don't have a problem with the Wiccan Read. I don't have a problem with all those, or karma for that matter. I don't really exactly. Karma gets on my nerves because I never know what anyone means when they say karma. So, but all of those beliefs, I don't have a problem with you believing that. In fact, good for you. If you have that much self-control, you go for it. If you have the power that I have and you have that self-control, you go ahead. More power to your ass.
Exactly.
I think you have a problem because you don't have that power, so you have to make an excuse and say you're Wiccan. I mean,
I didn't say it this time.
What is my rule? Don't fuck with me. I won't fuck with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's like the new people. I think that's why in the group, the new people have said, well, I'm new, so I'm not saying much. I don't think it's because they don't want to say anything. It's because the practitioners that have been practicing for however many years they say, they belittle the new people.
Exactly.
Dare you ask what color candle to ask, to use? You know, and it's like those practitioners fail to remember that they were new once.
Yeah.
And they also fail to remember that as witches, we are never done learning. Ever. We're always learning new
Ever.
things.
Ever.
Yeah, I agree with Nimbus. It's the practitioners that have been practicing for months or years or 45 years that are, sorry to say, the assholes, because they're making it hard for the new people. They're belittling them, and they shouldn't. They should be wanting to help them learn and do the right thing.
Yeah, that kind of goes with bringing more fear into it, because the people who know what to do, the people who have this experience, and they really are actually worthy practitioners, they hide all that information because they keep it from people, and at some time that is good, but a lot of these new practitioners that they don't know anything, they latch on to the wrong people because no one is teaching the right stuff.
Right. And like, I refer to the group a lot because that's where I get most of my inspiration to talk shit. So, that's where it happens. But the other day I was actually inspired by a post because it was Michael, me and you were tagged in it, and Alicia Holtz, when she asked the question on the group about I can't remember the exact situation, but anyway, she was questioning a work-in and what would you do, and kind of what is your badass way of getting even with someone who has wronged you, and people were spilling out their different ideas, and then someone says, an infusion of, no, they said absinthe oil, and people did not know what absinthe oil was, and that was not my problem with that. My problem was that it was kind of like put out there and no one was explained, and it, they were kind of tossing it back and forth, and I'm like, no one is explaining what it is. They're just, because clearly they have a question it, and then I don't remember, God, is it Donald? Is that his name? I don't remember his last name, but he was like, well, where do you find wormwood? Because I explained that absinthe is an old word for wormwood, and where do you find is it just wood that's got worms in it or something? And I'm like, no, like it's wormwood's an herb, and like, people didn't know that, and I was like, I'm glad that you asked that question. Never be afraid to ask that question. Like, you inspired me more than the dickheads that have commented above you just saying something and not giving a description about it. I mean, thank you for asking a decent question, because I was able to answer it, and I felt like I may have helped somebody. Like, instead of just going off on a fucking tangent about sending some absinthe oil through the mail system. Like, not that that's not a good idea, but it's a bad idea at the same time, because it could be illegal.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying. Like, I like people like that is trying to learn and trying to research and trying to put their craft into practice, not just theory, that are asking these questions. I dig that, because they're the ones that aren't afraid.
For the record, Nimbus, for the record, absinthe oil or wormwood oil has been made legalized again to a certain strength in the United States.
Okay.
With the what they wanted to do, go back and read the post, because it was like put some absinthe oil in the mail, and then when he opens the mail, like, he'll touch it, and it'll like it was some working to like harm him in some way, which I would never use absinthe oil personally to I would never use absinthe oil like that, but I mean, if that's what you do,
and it's things like that that scare me, because you have a newbie on there that just got all of that information that has absolutely no fucking idea what that herb does, but they'll go and they'll try to find it online, and they'll do something stupid like put it in their boyfriend's underwear, and they damage that man for life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That kind of shit irritates me. If you're going to answer a question, when somebody new has posted a question, a legitimate question, and you're going to take the time to answer it in full, or don't bother. Because what you're going to do is you're going to send somebody on a route that's going to get either them hurt or they're going to hurt somebody else, and it's no damn wonder they're fearful.
Yeah.
Well, you also have people that follow others blindly, which I think is a problem too. People that don't think this. I feel like the new person should do their own research and look it up. Like the person that didn't know that wormwood was an herb, Google.
Yep.
I mean, that's the easiest way to do it. But I had a friend, and she told me this guy, I still never figured out what he actually practiced, told her something for a love thing, and he told her to use a black candle. I've talked about this on the show before, and told her to use licorice root. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But the licorice root was for something else, I think, and the black candle, I told her, does not go with love unless you're trying to get rid of it, and she was trying to draw it to her. I mean, me as a practitioner...
Kinky love.
But we're not going there.
Me as a practitioner, because I remember when that happened, I asked Michael, and I'm like, have you ever... This is before I started doing my research and other things. I asked if you've ever heard of it, and he said no, so that kind of spurred that. But as a practitioner, I know that black is not for love. And the licorice root did not make... Oh, no, it was chicory. Chicory, for whatever instance, did not make any sense. So I looked it up. I didn't know, but I looked it up. Or you could ask somebody. But just going blindly and just doing something because somebody else suggested it is really not a good thing to do.
Which, yeah, exactly. You know, and people are scared. Again, fear is the witch killer, ha, because people are so scared to ask questions because they think that they're going to get, you know, assholes, and they are going to, because some people are just assholes. You know? But they're going to get people who are going to attack them, but you also have people who are willing to help. So you have to put yourself in that position. You have to take that risk to ask questions, to get more information. But don't just take what anyone says. Me, anyone here, don't take it for face value. Always do your research. Back it up, verify it, and if it feels right to you, then work with it. But don't ever take that information and just go with it. But I wanted to discuss, like, there was a question that someone asked, and I found it was very important, like, what makes a witch a witch? Basically, like, can all people become a witch, or and if not, what?
I have the question. When you say not everyone is meant to walk this path, are there indications that show this to be so? So are there any indications that show that somebody should not be?
Okay, are we talking about physical, or are we talking emotional? So
I think we're talking about everything. Like, are there physical, spiritual, emotional, anything that you can basically pinpoint that will help?
If you have a fear that the Christian God is going to send you to hell for doing what you're doing, then no, you should not be doing what you're doing.
Because your fear is going to send that working to a whole nother space, and it's gonna, because you didn't fully answer the question. So finish it. My feeling is, if you are doing something in fear, it's going to change the outcome. So if you want to do something to bring somebody to you, or even get them away from you, and you have a fear, or you believe it's not going to work, it's not going to work. So no, you should not be doing the working if you have the fear that something bad is going to happen, or that you're doing it the wrong way. Somebody came to me recently and said they saw my freezer jar video and asked me if it works. If you're asking me if it's going to work, it's not going to work for you. So
because you're not a witch.
Well, that too. But if you feel like it's not going to work, it's not going to work. Okay. So what makes so back to the actual question.
Yeah, let's go back to the question.
Are there any indications of people that make excuses, people that don't study what they're supposed to study, people that don't practice? I mean, how many people here actually do rituals every full moon?
That's my goal for 2015.
Okay, so Trina does.
I've done the first one.
Because sunshine is awesome.
That's what works for her. It doesn't work for me. So I don't.
But I do that because that's the way I was raised.
Right.
It's like, who has Sunday dinner?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, were you raised to have Sunday dinner? Then you have Sunday dinner. It depends on, you know what, our practice, for the most part, is a routine.
Right.
It's a routine.
Yes.
and you set your routine and you practice that routine, and there's something that you do every day, okay? Not all of us do the same routine every day, but we are still practitioners. So yes, I do, not everybody does.
Yeah. Because you have to do what works for you. My point with that was is there are not specific things that you need to there's not specific things that you need to do in order to be a practitioner, but you have to do stuff.
Yeah.
I know it's very vague, but you have to actually do stuff. Some people's forte may be meditation or maybe connecting with spirits and spirit realms. Some people might be doing really good with magic or different kinds of magic. You have to really do and develop what it is that you do.
I'm going to be the asshole here and say I do not think that everyone can be. So even if you practice meditation, even if you practice certain magical things, not everyone is a witch. Not everyone can be. Not everyone has what it takes to be, because it's a lot of work. And it's not just work that you put in, because you can put in all the work you want, but if you don't have, if you're not a witch, you can't be. You know, there's certain things, like there's like from my experience, every practitioner, every witch that I have met has had a spirit experience when they were young. They have had a familiar spirit come to them. They've had certain things in their life that aligned with their craft now. And that's just my belief. I don't think that everyone is able to do what we do.
Um, yeah, I totally agree with you. I don't think anyone can be. I'm sitting here thinking like the things that indicate that you're not a witch. Like, I hate that question. Like when someone says, "Well, what makes a witch a witch?" I'm like, "You're born with it." Like,
That's
it's not.
that's a hair commercial. That's a makeup commercial.
Yeah, maybe you're
born
born with it. No, it's makeup, right?
Yeah, it's
Maybelline's
makeup.
Yeah. So like, I'm like, you're born with it, and then you break it down further, and I'm like, okay, tell me something. Do you and the problem is every witch is different, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like some people are really connected to the the moon, I guess. I mean, I'm not, but I guess they could be if that's where they draw most of their power. They're so connected to it, it's ridiculous. That chances are they're really connected to water if they're connected with the moon, and it goes on. Well, that's great and dandy. So you can't make a test that says, well, if you're not connected with the moon, you're not a witch. Because I
Right.
don't believe that's necessarily true. But at the same time, if you're not connected with the earth or any kind of, spiritual realm, or if you pick up a rock and you say, well, it's a rock, and you don't feel any, connection with it whatsoever, or herbs for that matter, because I'm a herbal person. I mean, that's the majority of my craft comes from herbs. So if someone picks up a plant and they can't feel its essence or whatever, and they're like, oh, it's a weed. Well, if you do that with every single thing on Earth, and it's like, well, it's a weed, or it's a rock, or
Not
that's
that
the
weed.
moon. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not explaining it well. But
No,
if
you are.
they don't have a connection with the Earth, then that bugs me.
Right, but also at the same time that as you're growing and as you're on this path, because I know that I'm the one who's been doing this for the least amount of time. I know that for a fact, because technically I've only been practicing for like 3 years now, but so my practice and what I can do is going to be different than, say, from Trina, who's been practicing for longer than I have. So she has that control, and she's able to do what she's able to do. And just because I'm at the point that I'm at now doesn't mean that I'm not going to learn it. There are things that you need to learn as you go, but I do think that it is something that you are born with. I mean,
Yeah, and I think people need to realize, like, they need to stop. If you can't do it, don't force yourself. Don't, it's not something that you should feel ashamed of, like, or pissed off at because you can't do something. Find something else that might work for you. You might be really good at folk magic. There's something else, but not witchcraft. Scarlett, I know you have some interesting perceptions. Would you like to share what you think? Is there anything that you think makes a witch or not?
Well, I agree with you on what makes a witch as far as like the spiritual connection with spirits. Because, like you, I was young when that started. So I believe there should be some kind of connection. I mean, just waking up one day and being like, "Oh, hey, I'm gonna be a witch." That's not gonna work out. And also, I've noticed with some people, they buy every goddamn thing that they possibly can get their hands on, such like pictures, statues, necklaces, whatever. You can have all that shit. Doesn't make you a witch. You gotta practice. And I'm a psychic medium. Do I feel like I'm the best one out there or I know everything? No. I read on it. I research on it. I learn new things. You're not done learning, ever. And I've had people come to me and say, "Oh, I did my first time," for example, say the pendulum. I did the pendulum for the very first time the other day, and I really have it down, and I know what I'm doing. No, you don't. It takes practice. It takes time. You got to develop your skill. You're not going to have it down the first damn time you do it. And I just think you need that connection, just not with just spirits, but with everything around you, like Nimbus said, you know, the earth and water and fire and air. I mean, you need that. If you don't have a connection to any of that, and I don't think witchcraft is for you, or any other type of spiritual practice.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, as witches, we interact with those realms. We interact with spirit every day. We walk out, we connect with the earth, you know, the spirit of the place. We connect with all kinds of energies, and so it's kind of like we're programmed, we're fine-tuned to a different frequency, but we're kind of half here and half there. And I said this, it's a lot like, you know, people who are shamans, you know. Now it's like everyone and their mother's a shaman. You know, before it was like you had a shaman, you had a community, you had to be chosen. There's requirements. There was things that they had to see in order for you to be even considered to be a part of that. And I think I view that the same way. That's how I was taught. I view that the same way as I do the craft. You know, people. There are certain markers. There are people, and the big one, like, is what we said: spirit and the connection to the earth. So it's like, you know, above, below, yada yada yada. But no matter what, the hard work, determination, all of that is not gonna. That doesn't mean that you are. You are basically, your results speak for itself. If you practice, you work it, it works well, it works good, then that's a kind of an indicator that you are a witch. And if you practice and you do the work and it's not working, because I know people who do the work and it doesn't work for them, and they still claim to be something they're not. And that's on them. That's fine for them, but they would be so much happier if they just chose something that would work for them instead of trying to be something that really isn't taking. I don't know.
I don't fault the people who are wanting to walk a path and find the confidence and the creativity and the drive and the power that we know that we have.
Right.
I have no problem with somebody sitting out there saying, that's what I want in life, and to try to accomplish that. But to do that, you have to do the work. You have to find out if you're going to be able to do that. You
Absolutely.
can't walk up to a person and say, or in other words, you can't just, I'll be 100% honest with you. I cannot talk to a person I have never talked to on the phone and have them ask me, well, am I a witch? I don't freaking know.
I'm going to call you right now.
I don't, yeah. I'm like, but I respect those who have decided that they want to try to take that direction and find out if that's what they are, and I respect those others who have come to the conclusion that this is not the path that I thought I wanted to be on, or it's not what I'm not cut out for this, and have decided to go a different direction.
I
have a lot of respect for those people.
I agree. I have respect for all of those people. I just think more people need to decide. You need to be honest and say, no, this is not for me, or yes, this may not be for me, but I like what I'm seeing here, and I'm just going to keep myself here, but I'm not going to, kind of just flounder in between. And there's those people who are just crazy.
What's wrong with if you have a deity that you have worked with in this in your workings, trying to find out if this is where you want to go, but you come to the conclusion that perhaps you just don't have and I don't even know what to call it.
Right.
With me, it's just an energy sense, okay?
Yeah.
If you find out that maybe you just don't have the power, the energy sense to push out what it is that you're wanting to do, but you're still happy with that pagan path, there's nothing wrong with that. You do not have to be able to cast to walk the pagan path.
Agreed.
So,
Agree.
I don't think it's. I think that's where we get so screwed up when people start saying, "Are you a witch?" or "What are you?" or what do you call yourself? That's where we start getting messed up.
Mexican.
I think those are the people that call themselves witches and have been practicing for 45 years and don't know how to do a full moon ritual because they're that's not what they are. They're claiming to be something that they're not. That's kind of why I try to throw out the labels thing too, because you have less issues if you don't have labels.
I think that's people just need to understand like exactly what Sunshine said. So weird.
He's wanting to say bubbly so bad.
But people need to honor that. They need to figure out like it's okay to be what you are. And it's not okay to pretend to be something you're not, because you're not going to be happy there. So figure that out and then follow whichever route that is. And some people, honestly, they should just not practice at all because they're crazy. They think they're powerful and they think they're doing something and they just do damage to themselves. They do damage to themselves. They do damage to their family. They do damage, just all around. I have had friends who, this happened a while back, in beauty school, oh my god, who tried to do certain things and it was just toxic and it ended badly and they damaged themselves far more than anything else. They thought they were practicing something, they thought they were speaking to something that they weren't speaking to. They just ended up in a really bad place and it just
not only that, but I'm sure Scarlett can agree with this. When you have people out there that are trying to practice something that they don't understand, they're sending out stuff that we're picking up on.
Right.
And sometimes that shit is nasty, and I don't want it. So if you're going to be sitting at home trying to practice your, goody foo-foo stuff and not knowing that what you're sending out is just a major conglomeration of black cloud that is just confused as shit, then you need to learn to stop.
Right.
And you know what? And I'm sure every one of you will back me when I say this. I hate going to any public places because there's so many people out there with that ick all over them. Can you imagine one of those feeling that they're a witch and that they can go out there and they can do what they want to people?
Yes. That gives me the chills because I've seen that happen a lot lately. And even back in the day, because I'm so old, I've seen that, and it's scary. It really is because people put off that energy and they do damage, and that is scary for us new practitioners who even associate with these people, and that produces more fear, and it's not healthy.
I don't think there's a problem with admitting that you can't do something and hiring somebody to help you. And a lot of people are like, oh no, I need to be able to do everything myself. Sometimes we find ourselves in situations, more for me, it's more of tarot readings. If there's a really big crappy shitstorm coming on, and I know that I want a reading done on the situation, I'll go and find somebody that I know and that I trust to do the reading for me. And I've had other people have helped me with certain situations. Trina knows certain situations that at that moment, because I was in such a fucked up space, I was not able to do it myself. And by having other people help me, I was able to pull myself out of that space and then do what I needed to do to make sure that the situation was handled. So
And
that is okay.
that's
And
power.
you have to
That's
be
powerful.
comfortable, and you have to be around people that are you trust to help you with those kind of situations.
Right.
That's my motto this year. Surround yourself by real people. I am trying to get to know more of my people, my friends on Facebook. A lot of people, I deleted a lot of people because I don't want to associate with that energy. I want to associate with you. I want to bring that in because I trust you. I like what I see. I like what I get. Get rid of all the junk.
I know my Facebook has turned into freaking Jerry Springer, and it's it's cheaper than a movie. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing the same thing this year too.
And for people like us, like practitioners who work with magic, and it's even more important for us to watch out who we associate with, because we work magic, we have that energy, we tune in, and so their frequency, their energies, they latch on to us, and it's crazy, and we need to be more aware of the people we put in our lives, far more than someone who isn't working magic, far more than someone who just doesn't know. They need to as well, but we have to take special care of, what is very special about us. Aww.
That's true. That's true. We are susceptible to things that others have decided as they've grown up to tune out, to block out, that we make a point to leave open because that's what is required of us. Unfortunately,
Right.
there's things out there that every now and then get in that we don't want. Thus, protection.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to learn who to surround yourself with. You have to keep in mind that this person is obviously not working for me, so I need to distance myself from them, and you need to have the courage to be able to do that. Or you're never going to be able to find out where you should be in your mindset, in your life, in your path, and
Right.
you're never going to be happy. And
That's why I have an ex-husband.
And
yeah.
you know,
I'll be honest with you. At my age, I still ask for help. I don't know it all. I'm still learning. And it's hard for me sometimes because once you get to be my age, you're not supposed to have to ask for help.
well, I think that's important. I think no matter what age, it's powerful, and that has to do with fear as well. Like asking for help. Don't be scared to ask for help because it doesn't matter where you are. You can be 10, 20, 30, 60. We all need help no matter what. It doesn't matter what age we are. It doesn't matter how much we know. We still need assistance, and we feel good when we have people we can trust to help us. It's not a weak thing to ask for help. Even though you want to be very strong and do what you want and practice whatever. But sometimes it's more powerful and important to ask for help because the person you ask for help might need you to ask them. And that gets rid of that fear because
Also, too, by talking to somebody else, if I go to Michael with a problem, it gets him thinking too. It gets him thinking about maybe a different situation, or maybe he's facing the same kind of situation. It helps both people. I have to go to work. I really hope you guys continue this conversation. If not, then everybody. And until next time.
Bye.
She's gone. We can have fun.
When mom's away.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to know yourself. I think that stamps out some fear because people are afraid of themselves, especially witches. Especially
Mm-hmm.
witches, and the reason I say that is because I know, and we talked about it when we met last week, just had a hangout or whatever. We talked about how there are a lot of people a lot of witches, not just people, but witches who are afraid of themselves, and I think it's because they have no idea who the hell they are. Like you have to, and I'm a big supporter of the magical laws. So one of the laws is the law of knowledge. So and the theory behind it is how can you control something without having knowledge of it? How can you put out your own energy to cause change if you have no idea who you are? So if you know who you are, why fear what you can do? And because you know what's going to happen, and that I think will stamp out fear. 90% of most fear that people have is not outside forces; it's inside forces,
Right.
because they're afraid of what their natural reaction to things are. They're afraid to feel. They're afraid to get nitty gritty. They're afraid to feel that other part of themselves that is just as important. They don't want to bring it out. They want to stamp it out, and that makes for an unbalanced witch. That makes for a fearful witch, and that just is a chink down in this chain. And how are we gonna grow and be something more if we don't help each other and strengthen ourselves? Hey.
Sorry.
I see a puppy.
Somebody's
No,
wanting in on the video.
Aw, that's true, and like we were discussing just a few seconds ago. When we're connected to that earth, Earth can be scary. You go deep into the earth, that's some scary stuff. It brings out like really deep-rooted beliefs, patterns, foundational stuff that we buried. So, as a practitioner, we face that. If we allow our craft to grow, we have to deal with that stuff. And so all those, those scary experiences, all those things that we don't want to admit about ourselves, that comes up. And so that's why a lot of people stay scared and they stay in a weak position because they don't want to have to do the work to deal with all this stuff that's coming up from, the deep part of ourselves.
Witchcraft has no room for a lack of confidence or lack of self-esteem.
Yeah.
Speak.
You have to push that aside. Yeah, you have to push that aside, and you have to get past it to be able to do your working, do your practicing, to find out where you're going, what you can do, and if it's the path for you. It's that simple.
Absolutely.
I have no problem with self-confidence. I never have. But like, I wasn't raised in a home where my confidence was shut out. It was encouraged. I was fortunate. I was incredibly fortunate to have the parents that I have, because I happen to have two of the most accepting, wonderful parents I've ever met in my life. Now, they, of course, have their flaws, but as it comes down to it, no, I was raised for my true self to be raised above anybody else. I was important to my parents, not. It was important to my parents for me to be important to myself, if that makes sense. So confidence was bred in my house. Self-esteem was bred in my house. I wasn't ripped down or tore down by anything. That, I think, is great to me and beneficial to me. That is not the case with a lot of people. A lot of people are brought down where they should be, brought up, and that's the home.
Yeah.
And my suggestion, I don't have a suggestion actually, because it's not my place to tell you what is. I think change whatever doesn't bring you down. Destroy what needs to be destroyed, so that you can create what needs to be created.
Well, see, when my craft helped me to be more confident. My craft helped me to find my self-esteem. It saved me. But I think the more people practice, the more that builds, and people are scared to feel confident about themselves. They are told so much that they are not worthy, that they should be in a certain place. So the more we open ourselves to connecting with the earth, connecting with elements, connecting with our craft, the more all that stuff gets obliterated. It gets shattered, and the real self, our true spirit, our craft self, it arises, and we become strong. And a lot of people can't handle that. A lot of people fear that because it is so powerful. So I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. I just went whoosh.
I
It was a good
agree.
point.
I agree, but it makes me feel bad for now. Nimbus has made me think of, there were, when I first started doing YouTube videos, I used to get so many um, questions about, how have I been able to do this for so long and not be afraid of my neighbors or my coworkers or my family, or you've got those people that live in a house where their family is totally against what they do, wouldn't even consider tolerating them doing any type of practicing in the home, or they just live someplace where they just feel restricted. And I pity those people, number one, being in that position. Now, I'm not talking about children, okay, because I'm sorry, but as a child, that's just one of those things. It's like drinking alcohol. You just have to wait until you get out of the house, I guess, okay? But for those people who are adults and are in a situation who can't practice the way that they want to be able to because of some type of fear of others around them, the retaliation around them, I do feel bad for those people, and I wish I knew what to tell them. It's not always as simple as just, okay, well, I guess you need to move out and get your own place. It's not always that simple. But what I can say is, in your heart, and if you can find a place to remove yourself, even if it's just for an hour or so from that surrounding, be it just going into the backyard or just being by yourself in some type of meditation type thing. Start working and asking, the spirits or your guide or whoever to try to assist you in getting past this. That's about the best that I can suggest. I really do feel bad for those people because I was blessed like Nimbus. I was brought up in a very supportive, magical family. So I didn't have that restraint where I was beat down, in the Bible Belt, and I feel bad for those people. I did a video on, trying to make suggestions on how these people could go about, getting around this, and that's got to be just so, that has to add to their fear and self-esteem and
Right.
confidence. But, that just imagine that if you can get past that, if you can figure out a way to get past that, just how much more powerful you will be when you
I did.
hit the top of that mountain. I mean, yeah, you are going to be able to be such a focused practitioner if it's truly in your heart and in your blood to do. And if you can overcome that, the power that you would hold at the top of that would just be phenomenal. Sorry.
Aw.
I know.
Aw, you're giving me a little cry.
I'm sorry. I
That's
can't help it though, because and the main reason I'm actually thinking of one person that I know that is in that position, and there's just no way out, and it has to be one of those things where you get in the backyard and you're in your elements when you're by yourself, and you're grounding yourself, and practicing is really difficult. It has to be underhanded almost, and it's sad. It's sad, but when it's all said and done, this person is going to be hell on wheels.
It's upsetting. Trina, I have a friend that's in a similar situation, and the problem is she's an adult, and not like a 21-year-old adult, like a, she's got some, she's still great. If she's listening, she's still you're still really good looking, and you're great. I'm not calling you old or anything, but you're not a kid anymore. You grew up, and you're in a situation where no, you can't get out, but your craft is not encouraged, and that I have not. I don't know what to say. I have no idea. That is upsetting because I rarely am at loss for words. I'm never at loss for words. I love to talk, but in that
We
situation,
know.
th- there's just what do you do? How do you stamp out your fears when you can't tell your husband or your wife what you are or discuss it? I don't understand that. I'm not in that relationship, so I don't get it. My craft is encouraged. Half of our bedroom is full of nothing but my craft stuff. Like I don't know. I don't really know how to. How do you stamp out fear that can't
I
be released?
agree. My husband, y'all have seen my witchy room, right?
Yeah, I've seen your
Yeah.
videos.
You know who built that for me? I didn't build it. I didn't build it. He built it for me. So
Yeah.
I have that support. Even though he is not pagan, he is
Right.
not a witch. He supports me.
Yeah.
And I am so thankful that I found him. I just see that he was sent to me for a reason.
Well, and Scarlett has a husband who also has no choice, but he supports her, and that's just to me. Seeing all of you and the people who support you, I think it's amazing. You don't get that a lot, and it's just awesome because some people have really hard time dealing with that.
My husband, he's an atheist. He don't believe in shit. Doesn't believe in anything. He does. The only thing that he does believe in is that he knows that we came from somewhere. He knows that there's somebody or something that is higher than us. He doesn't have a name for it. He doesn't know what it is. He doesn't talk to it because he doesn't know. But he knows that we got here somehow. But he supports me. He talks shit every now and then. Like, oh, you're doing your voodoo shit again, or whatever. He'll tease and whatever, but he supports me and built me things just like Trina's husband has built her things.
Aww.
He's like, oh, I made this for you today, and I'm like, oh, thanks.
It's important, isn't it, Carla? It feels good to know that you can go home to somebody that's going to support you. And then you talk to these people online, or you hear of these ones online that are living in a situation where, if they even whisper about something that's not Christian, I mean, they act like they're going to get the shit beat out of them.
Yeah.
Bad.
I'm so all these bitches are married and shit, and here I am, kind of single over here. Or am I? I don't know.
Well,
How are you kind of single?
I can fix that if you want. You can move here. I've got plenty of friends here.
He's coming to North Carolina, Trina. I have no idea. I hate to tell you this.
I'm moving. Yes.
He's coming to
It's
see
okay.
us.
It's okay. I'm getting Blythe. Nah.
Yeah. I'll get Michael. You get Blythe, and we'll corrupt them even further in the ways of the South.
Oh, great. It's gonna be dangerous. So, is there anything else that before I ask a question, but is there anything else that you'd like to say
I don't
before
think
we
so.
sort of close up?
No.
Y'all are quiet now.
I'll go.
You have something to say?
If you, as it goes for fear, if you do not try in every effort to get rid of it, you'll never reach your true potential. So that in itself is a reason to try to destroy anything that comes in your path that causes you to fear yourself, your craft, your surroundings, or anything. As it goes for people who may not know or are fearing indication of that they're not a witch. All I can say is if you have to ask, you will never know. And if you know, you have no need to ask. And if you feel that way, then you need to study, because nothing in life, whether it's arcane or mundane, comes easy. Just because we can cast and we can make things happen doesn't mean that you don't have to apply that work to it. And that is what people fear. They're lazy and they fear hard work. And if that happens, then it doesn't matter if you can do the most amazing craft in the world. You know, you can cast like fucking Harry Potter. If you don't put the work into it, you're not going to get results. And you know that if you're afraid, I don't know what to tell you. Stamp it out. It is the witch killer. You want to be a witch? Get rid of what makes you afraid. Be it your inner self. If you're not okay with who you are, you need to make yourself okay with that, and you need to come to terms with it. Because until you figure it out, you're not going to be a witch because you're going to be afraid. If you have fear, you have no place in this world.
No, not at all. Not at all. There's so much stuff that we deal with that is, I don't fear it, but it can be scary, you know? So if you, that, it's just damaging. But my question is, like, I want every one of you to tell all of us, so far in your craft, what is one positive thing that you can say that your craft has done for you? Just so people who are kind of down and out, you know, they need that inspiration. They want to know, like, what, you know, what they can maybe expect, what can help them. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Jesus. What positive thing has your craft done for you in your life so far? Anyone want to say that? Really?
I mean, I'll do it, but I feel like they should do it.
I think they should do it too. Scarlett, tell me. Talk to me. Positive. Healing.
I'm a big person with meditation. Listening to your guides, listening to your intuition. I believe that has helped me with a lot of my craft. I don't just get up and say, oh, well, I think maybe I might do prosperity working today. I don't do that. I'm not one to also work with the moon phases. I mean, I will. But if I'm going to decide on whether I'm going to do a spell or not, or any other type of working, I don't rely or focus on the moon phase. I do it with meditation. Because I get a lot of insight from my guides. And if it just isn't right during that meditation, I just don't do it at that moment. And intuition to me is a huge thing. If it doesn't feel right to you, don't do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of what people don't do. They just jump into whatever it is that they want to do. Whether it's they're planning it around the moon phases or the days of the week or the times of the day. Those aspects are important too, but I think you need to listen. And if you can't shut up long enough in your own head to listen to yourself, it's not going to work. I don't think it's going to work. And it's not a spur of the moment thing for me anyway. I mean, doing stuff like revenge, you know, messing with somebody that's messed with my kids or myself, no, I don't think on that. That gets done right away. But I think people need to listen. Like,
yeah.
Just deeply listen and go from there. Because you can't, it's just not a spur of the moment type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
To expect the greatest results ever. That's always helped me with the meditation.
Sweet. Next. Sunshine.
Lebowskador.
Joe, give me that look. My gosh. You're gonna kill me over here with those looks.
Okay. I'm pushing 50.
Aww.
And yeah, I know. I'm pushing 50. And I have been through a lot in almost 50 years. But in that 50 years, I've always been able to come back to my craft and have a full heart, have confidence, have pride in what I have and what I do,
Mhm.
have self-motivation, self-control, and of course, along with age, I've learned to read people where a lot of other people can't. And just knowing that I'm happy where I'm at, right there, it's self-fulfilling. When you find that groove, it's self-fulfilling, knowing that you're snug as a bug in that cute little crack, walking the path that you're walking, and being happy. Isn't that what you want out of life, is to be happy? You don't want to be worried about your family. You don't want to be worried about your children or your animals or your home or your husband or your wife. You want to be happy. And I think that what I believe in and what I do has attributed to that.
Absolutely.
I know it has.
Okay, next.
What was the question? No, I'm kidding.
I don't remember.
Shit.
Just make something up.
You asked what the craft brought to us, that has changed our life, and what's worth it. What's to inspire those at home, that what makes our craft worth it. I think
Yeah, like
that's
something.
what I got the gist.
Yeah, like a positive impact, or even a tip, or something. Just something that they can take to help them.
Everything in my life has been brought to me through the positivity of being a witch, I guess. Yeah, I feel like everybody has trials and tribulations in life, but when you're a witch, those trials and tribulations seem to be a little bit better than everyone else's. I hate to say it, but when you have control over, no one has full control over everything. Not a soul, be it witch, warlock, no matter who you are. There are going to be variables that you do not foresee, but the difference is that when you can do something about it, it gives you great control over how you feel about it. And that in itself is a reward to me. It's brought me great friends. I mean, all of you, Scarlett's my new friend. But like I've known Trina and
Aww.
Blythe and Michael, but like, you know, I respect you so much, all of you. Um, and I could not imagine life not affected by you people. I mean, it's hard to say, and I don't want to get mushy and gushy because I always
Oh
do. God,
God.
I'm worse than Trina. But like Trina in itself has affected my craft, and then it's like it's a complete you know quadruple when I add the other three that are here with me right now. Not Blythe, because, well, yes, Blythe, but she's not here. Um, so friendships, control, power, and the greatest happiness in the world. I mean, you can't imagine
Aww.
yourself. I mean, honestly, you can't. I can't describe it, because everyone is unhappy at some point in their life, and um, like I said, it's just a little easier when you can do something about it. So next.
Oh, that'd be me. Oh, my heart's all warm. I've talked about it before. Like, my craft literally saved my life. I have been in a very hard position, and if I wasn't who I was, if this craft was, if I wasn't a witch, then I really wouldn't be here today. It gave me confidence. It gave me, the power to change things. I was able to shift and change really harsh events and hard times from in my life, and I think people watching, like, they need to understand that the craft can do so much for them. You know, you don't have to just sit and take things. You are able to become a active participant in all these situations, and you change them to your liking. You don't just sit back and allow things to happen. You go and change, and you go throw someone else in front of you so they get hit by a car and you don't. I mean, you know, if you. But no, it really has. It has. I can honestly say that I am happy being here, doing this, being with all of you, and that's thanks to my craft. Because if I didn't have that, I would have never met anyone here, and I'm a better person because of it. So I think people need to understand that they need to get rid of that fear. You know, stop being scared to be who you are, and then don't deny that you might not be something. If you're not something, don't do it. But honor your calling, honor who you are. Oh my God, we sound like freaking Hay House. Jesus.
Yeah, haven't you noticed, Michael, what every one of us has just said? The craft has enabled us to make what we want.
Right.
Every one of
Exactly.
us.
You know,
That's
and that
what we want.
exactly. We get what we want because we are who we are. We are the
Right.
practitioners of witchcraft. And that is something that is never going to change, ever.
Yep. And we feel sorry for the muggles.
But they come to Scarlet, they come to us to, you know, do stuff for them.
That's true.
It's
Which I
it's a
don't have a
win-win.
problem with. Just remember, I have a life outside of this. Okay, you guys, so give me time.
Okay, is there anything else that anyone wants to share before we just say peace out? Because we guys got families that you need to take care of, and something like that. I don't know.
I'd like to say thank you for having me, you guys. This was awesome. I really had a good time. Thank you.
That sounds like a
Aww.
goodbye. You'll be back.
Just for the night. Just for the night. And that's only because with my work schedule, I don't know when I can and when I can't. So, you know, I may not
Sounds
be.
familiar.
And not only that, but you never know. You guys may not want me back because I can, like, talk forever. So.
I want you back already. That's ridiculous.
Oh.
Okay, I think we're gonna say goodnight. Peace out, mofos.
Good night, everybody.